And I think my computer just froze. Hey, are you guys still there? I think I just did this whole presentation on mute. I am so sorry and so embarrassed. I'm probably going to have to do this again. If you're still there, we could do this all over again. I am so sorry, you guys. I forgot to unmute myself when I was prepping, and I was like, I'm all ready to go. Oh my goodness. Hi, Trick. How are you? Or Trish, I'm sorry. I'm starting right now. I am so embarrassed. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, good morning. Come on in and have a seat. My name is Emmy, and we are talking about Blake Lively's disastrous marketing plan. How is everybody doing this morning? All right. How are we doing? Can we see that? Hopefully, you can see my screen. It's a new format. Okay. So, in her original complaint, Miss Lively in paragraph 102 says Miss Abel cautioned Mr. Baldoni. Let me start all the way over. We start at 100 for context. In advance of the release of the film, nearly all cast members chose to appear in public separately from Mr. Baldoni, given his on-set behavior. Mr. Baldoni became concerned that the public would discover that something is much bigger under the surface on information belief, alluding to the complaints lodged by Miss Lively and others. At that point, Mr. Baldoni pivoted away from the film's marketing plan to explain his absence from the rest of the cast. He shifted his focus away from a message of female triumph to instead capitalize on female trauma. After the film's premiere, Mr. Baldoni changed his Instagram profile, canceled lighthearted social media posts, and instructed his team to look for survivor reactions and support, all in an effort to quickly shift his own public narrative to focus solely on survivors and domestic violence organizations. And it continues. I believe I have the right document up. Here we go. And this, I believe, is on the opposition. She cites the Wayfair defendants, which directly undermined Lively's ability to perform her job, including by jeopardizing her ability to promote the film alongside Hoover. Okay, they're still talking about promoting. Defendants publicly maligned Lively by planning and implementing a press and social media campaign to bury her. Baldoni departed from the film's agreed-upon marketing plan despite knowing in real time that it would harm Lively and the other female cast and crew. The defendants simultaneously placed and promoted negative media and social media narratives that falsely blamed Lively for the film's marketing plan. Well, I guess that's true. It wasn't really Lively's marketing plan, right? It was Ryan Reynolds and cast aspirations on her character. Defendants attempt to cast their campaign as a defensive measure or classic PR ignores the law and facts, including their prior agreement that negative behavior, including during publicity and promotional work, could be retaliatory. Defendants cite no evidence demonstrating that Lively indisputably started the publicity flight or that she launched an onslaught of vicious negative press against Baldoni. So if you take a look, let me pull up Maximum Efforts marketing plan. What should they avoid according to Maximum Effort and the marketing plan that Blake Lively was promoting? What to avoid? Avoid talking about the film being representative of every woman's story. There are many stories of domestic violence, and this is just one perspective that is inspired by Colleen Hoover's own experience growing up. They didn't want to talk about domestic violence. Focus more on Lively's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about domestic violence. Oh, and this is my favorite. Avoid describing the film as a love story or love triangle. It's the story of Lily learning how to take agency of her future. But you know what? Who messed that one up? Ryan Reynolds and that weird Brandon Frickus and Hugh Jackman interview. That is very true. Totally forgot. And I thought I was doing too good, so good too. And my little spiel. Blake Lively really followed her own marketing plan in this whole thing, right? And we're forgetting that Wayfair's marketing plan started really in September 16, 2022. Baldoni connects with the representative from the nonprofit organization No More, which raises awareness in domestic and external violence with the intention of partnering on the film. The representative followed up with an email to Baldoni shortly after. Well, that's the mission, right? That was the whole mission. September 23rd, 2022, Wayfair partners with Sony. Their agreement includes, at Wayfair and Baldoni's insistence, a requirement that 1% of the film's proceeds be donated in support of survivors of domestic abuse. That 1% was ultimately earmarked for the organization No More. This is way before Lively is casted, because Lively is casted December 31st, 2022. Lively agrees to take the lead role of Lily Bloom. This is the timeline of relevant events. Then Wayfair starts marketing, January 13, 2023. Baldoni and Wayfair develop marketing ideas for the film. They share these campaign ideas with Sony, including an idea for Lily Bloom pop-up shops nationwide, each of which would provide access to resources and safe houses for domestic violence victims. They also start to partner with the nonprofit No More, which raises awareness and acts to end domestic violence and sexual violence. And if you want to know about No More, it was kind of bad news bears for Blake Lively and her marketing campaign. Because No More is about ending domestic violence and increasing awareness. How are you going to do that? You're going to have to talk about it. And what else are you going to have to talk about? You might have to talk about stories like this. Suzanne R. Cross seems like your average suburban mom, happy, involved in the community, and incredibly personable. No one would ever guess that her childhood had been one filled with alcoholism, anti-Semitism, and abuse, set in the backdrop of Las Vegas's underworld and glamorous casinos. That doesn't really seem like it's in line with Blake Lively's marketing campaign. because they also have to talk about alcohol is often involved in domestic violence, with 40% of violence towards intimate partners linked to alcohol consumption in 2020. And really, if you look at Blake Lively's products, Betty Booze and Betty Buzz, I am not sure which one is the booze and which one is the buzz. I know booze is alcohol, but what about if people don't know that connotation or that double entendre? And everything is linked to the movie. Betty Blooms. I mean, it's pretty. In her new summer movie, It Ends With Us, Blake Lively plays a floral designer named Lily Bloom. In her off-screen life, Lively helms two beverage brands, Betty Buzz, which slings premium sodas, and Betty Booze, which offers canned cocktails. There are more similarities between creating the perfect bouquet and drink recipe than many think. Head of marketing of Betty Buzz and Betty Booze. Both are all about curating the finest quality products, finding the right balance, and enjoying them either just for yourself or with people you care about most. So, what a great idea for her brand. And you might even say for her sales, because now she has an opportunity to sell her product to the marketing campaign, because now the marketing campaign is going to have to buy all of these cans and these bottles, because Blake Lively isn't going to give it for free. And what if someone dropped a box and crushed all these cans? They'd have to order another case, right? In my opinion, shipping is very volatile. And again, she's mixing her brand, Buzz Booze, with It Ends With Us. To celebrate Blake Lively as Lily Bloom in It Ends With Us, the actress' sparkling beverage brand, Betty Buzz, is unveiling the Betty Bloom's Floral Collection, officially available for purchase today. A gorgeous trio of flower arrangements utilizing Betty Buzz bottles as vases that they're curated based on the individual colors and flavors of three of Lively's iconic beverages. I mean, they have pretty names: Betty Blooms, Magnificent Mayor Lemon, Lush Lemon Lime, Grandiose Grapefruit, all in the name of an It Ends With Us association. I mean, is that a good look? Yeah. Betty Buzz does and Betty Booze does sound like alcohol to me. Somebody might get confused, which is probably why they didn't want to deal with Baldoni, because Baldoni would be talking about this, which goes against the marketing plan. This marketing plan. Let's just wave through some of the angry comments. There is a comment in here. "67 weeks ago, it's so inappropriate to have a fun, girly pop-up flower shop with product giveaways to promote a movie about DV. Said no one ever, weeks before the Blake Lively hate train got started." So their marketing plan went against their products. Baldoni attends Lily Bloom's pop-up shop at Westfield Century City to promote the film. This is July 17. Following the pop-up, Jones contacts Abel to check in. Abel shares that Baldoni is struggling and under immense pressure. Well, yeah. Moreover, Baldoni is dealing with Ryan Reynolds, calling Baldoni's agent and saying what a horrible person he is. Of course. Because Baldoni wanted to do this instead of this. It was very convenient of them to do that. July 22nd, 2024, Lively, Reynolds, and other members of the film cast attend the premiere for Deadpool and Wolverine. At the after party, Wayfair was informed that Reynolds approached a senior executive at DME and expressed his disdain for Baldoni, going as far to suggest that the agency is working with a external predator. July 23rd, they don't want him to go. Sony informs Wayfair, the studio financing the premiere and most of the film, that Lively had demanded that Baldoni, Heath, and Wayfair refrain from attending the New York premiere and threatens a cast-wide boycott if they do. That's not a bad look, right? So then they start planning because they're freaking out. Then comes tag July 2020, 25th, 2024. And like I said, it's not like they weren't warned before about their marketing campaign. August 11, 2024, Heath follows up on his email to Sony from August 9, 2024, expressing his gratitude for the team's effort and making the film a box office success. He requests, however, that they schedule a call to discuss the film's messaging, right? Because they were still trying to promote this. Maybe it's not going too good. But they already knew that. They already knew that. Because August 12th, 2024, WME, Abel, and Heath discussed yet another conversation between WME and Reynolds. Here comes Maximum Effort and Reynolds. WME shares that Reynolds and Lively are furious with Wayfair and Baldoni for positioning them as promoting the film as a Barbie film, while elevating Baldoni to speak on more serious messaging. Oh, I forgot. The more serious messaging. What was that again? This? Just to remind you, but it had already been discussed and planned by, and Sony knew about it. Reynolds and Lively purportedly believe Nathan is responsible for this positioning and demand that Wayfair release a statement of contrition, taking accountability for the negative press towards Lively and Reynolds. They warned WME that absent compliance, the gloves will come off. In turn, Reynolds tells WME that he would personally draft a statement for Wayfair to release immediately. Heath and Abel are astounded that Reynolds and Lively blame Baldoni and Wayfair for their self-inflicted PR nightmare. Heath had consistently communicated that neither Wayfair, Nathan, nor anyone on their team was manipulating the internet using bots or seeding stories about Lively's or Reynolds' character. Well, isn't that true? Because we covered that yesterday, right? Check out that video. All press stories were organic and directly resulted from Lively's own tone-deaf marketing. August 12th. That evening, two WME executives, Heath and Abel, participate in a call to review the statement drafted by Lively and Reynolds on behalf of Baldoni, Heath, and Wayfair. Upon review, WME concurs with Wayfair that the statement was vague, implies culpability without substance, and fails to address the issues at hand. Furthermore, if the goal was to mitigate negative online attention directed at Lively, that statement would have the opposite effect. In response, Wayfair, Baldoni, and Heath reject the demand, firmly refusing to issue any statement, falsely assuming responsibility for non-existent issues. Do you think they were counting on that? Do you think they were counting on this? The infamous text message. Mitz Tolskovich, any word from the terrorists, dated 8/13/2024. This is the day after. Ready to fight, says Jamie Heath. Talk to Justin. Emily says, fuff no. We're not writing any letter. She made this bed. Now she can fuffing live in it. Let's fight. We're done. Justin says, well, you heard her. Let's fight. No letter. So we are saying, fuff off. No statement. Mitt says, I fuffing love Emily. Jamie, yep. Here we go. Mitz. Jamie Heath says, headed to the office now. So they are about done of their own right shenanigans. Haha, poor Omar will never live that down. Yeah. As long as the attention is not on me. So what do you think? She's blaming Wayfair, but then she's also blaming herself. And then what happens? It's the reverse Uno. Blake pulls a reverse Uno and does this. August 14th, a day after the text message, Blake Lively posts, this is a news article from US Today. Blake Lively posts domestic violence hotline amid it ends with a backlash. Oh, finally. Oh, are you following the marketing plan of Baldoni and Wayfair? Blake Lively sharing a domestic violence hotline amid backlash from social media users. On Tuesday, that ends with a star took to her Instagram story and posted a link to the National Domestic Violence Hotline resource page for her followers. Oh, look. There's statistics. 1 in 4 women aged 18 and older in the U.S. alone have been the victim of severe physical violence by intimate partner in their lifetime. Intimate partner violence affects all genders, including more than 12 million people every year in the United States. Everyone deserves relationships free from domestic violence, she wrote on the story. Yes, they do. It's why I'm single. But how can she write that? Because isn't she accusing Justin Baldoni of doing the exact same thing she's doing? Where is it? She's pivoting, isn't she? Isn't that what she said in her complaint? At that point, Mr. Baldoni pivoted away from the film's marketing plan to explain his absence from the rest of the cast. He shifted his focus away from the message of female triumph to instead capitalize on female trauma. Well, Blake, what are you doing? How can you be doing that? You're supposed to be avoiding talking about the film that makes it sad or heavy. It's a story of hope. And yet, you go back. Oh, and you steal back the original campaign. So, what's going on, Blakey Poo? Pre-premiere campaign. So she tried to say Wayfair's own work again. Oh, and here's a house guests. So how do you think a jury's going to see that? Oh, you have no sound? Oh no. Can you hear me now? What was he supposed to do? Keep shedding light on the unnecessary drama that he started? Yes, I'm so sorry. There's still sound. For like the first, I don't know, like, I don't even know how long I was talking. But how ironic. And then in the end of all of this, I'm almost done, baby. At the end of all this, we find out from the New York Times this gem. And this is NPR. Chewy, yeah. So Melissa Nathan came on board and she presented the men with initial planning document in which she sort of spelled out talking points that they could use with reporters should anything start to bubble up. Mr. Baldoni actually felt like that wasn't enough and he was explicit about wanting more. So she in turn brought in another person and collectively they put in motion a strategy that had involved not just kind of interfacing with the traditional press, seeking to kind of get favorable coverage of him and negative coverage of her, but to actually what appears to be manipulate the internet, to manipulate social media. And they talk about starting threads online and doing other things to basically shift the narrative and what people were consuming on the internet. How convenient. But we're also forgetting this little piece. And as you know, there was, prior to all of this coming out, there was so much evidence that the smear campaign had actually done real damage to Miss Lively, that she had suffered the biggest hit to reputation. Like the online conversation about her had undergone like a drastic transformation as this campaign was put in motion. Her marketing campaign. The marketing campaign. In it, there's also the admission. Hang on, baby. There's also the admission by Tui to Lively was, and I'm trying to find it. I think I passed it. Here we go. This gem, Tui. Yes, that's exactly right. She told me, like, listen, this was actually not the worst that I experienced in Hollywood. I've actually experienced far worse misconduct. I spoke up because I wanted to address it and I thought I had, and I never had any intentions of discussing this or going public with my accusations. And so to watch what happened next and experience what she now is alleging, this was complete campaign of retaliation, felt in many ways much more sinister than the underlying misconduct. Right. All because Blake Lively didn't want to listen to what everybody else had to say, including Jamie Heath, who literally said, what, on August 11th, that they should just schedule a call, discuss the messaging. And if you look at this really hard to see font and wording, because I can't see it. To be clear, I believe we are not maybe saying this says 11 appropriate marketed anyway. In fact, you all have, I can't read that, y'all. Thank you. Extremely honored to be partners with you. It's been fantastic. The proof is in the pudding. This post, Sony piloting to those who spoke, well, I can't even that spoken about marketing. While I am not dissuaded by their commentary, I can't read that. I know, trust and understand that point. I look to discuss with you. Congratulations on the huge success. So they're not denying that the movie wasn't a success, but they're acknowledging that the messaging needed to change. And it did for Lively 3 days later. And only one day after Emily said, fluff off. So, what do you guys think now that I've done that a second time? Was I better?
No.
She was threatening not to promote. Yes. Her ability to promote was jeopardized. Not exactly. Well, her ability to promote her products was jeopardized by no more, and the film's original messaging. Let me look at a couple more comments, see if I missed anybody. I think I did. Thank you, Trish, for being here. A Mooner. You guys are rock stars. Jungle Jovette, I'm so sorry I was late. Girly, thank you for being here. So, y'all, what do you think about that? Do you think it's fair that she can blame Ryan's marketing and then Baldoni's marketing and then Steele Baldoni's marketing? Because it just doesn't make sense. It's like she's speaking in roundabout tongues. You know? Shame on Blake Lively from deviating from anybody's marketing plan. Maybe this is right. Maybe it is Ryan Reynolds. Well, guys, that is my little presentation on her contradictory, and I think this is going to probably shoot her in the foot when it comes to the jury pool. Of course, there's other mountains and mountains and mountains of evidence that we can do, and I could probably do something similar to this with Jed Wallace, but I mean, we can go on for days on how contradictory she is and just poke holes with her own words at this point. Thank you for tuning in. So sorry for the sound. I'll try not to do that again. Let me know what you think. Tomorrow I will have the Jamie Heath and the Blake Lively and the corn of it all. So tune in for that. I'll make sure that my sound is working. And I'll see you tomorrow. Hope you guys have a beautiful day. Like, subscribe, check out my other videos. And I'll see you tomorrow with the iced tea. Thanks, guys.